They told an employee to stop saving the company money and follow policy instead, so he maliciously complied and doubled their expenses. Welcome back to the jerk verdict. Today on r/MaliciousCompliance, corporate accounting learns a very expensive lesson. Let us break this down. This incredibly satisfying story comes from r/MaliciousCompliance, posted by u/Mandoman1973. Before we get into it, drop your verdict in the comments. Who is the real jerk here? Pause the video, comment right now, and let us see if you agree with Reddit. After the local auto parts company, the original poster worked for merged with another state branch, their position required them to travel twice a year. They loved the flights, the driving, and getting to meet up with co-workers. Wow, how noble! Finding an employee who actually enjoys corporate travel and wants to save the company money is like finding a rare unicorn in the modern workforce. Their first trip was in May. They followed the company policy about travel to the absolute letter. Any trips from the hotel to the office or to eat all had to be done by using the Uber app. They paid for it all up front to submit for reimbursement later. Oh boy, anyone who has ever traveled for business knows that relying exclusively on a rideshare app for every single movement and meal is going to rack up a massive corporate bill incredibly fast. Before starting at this company, the original poster ran their own business, so they knew the value of $1. When they realized they spent $400 on Uber alone, they figured it was $200 more than just buying groceries. Hold on a second. The fact that this employee is actively trying to protect the bottom line of a company that they do not even own shows an incredible level of integrity that management is about to completely take for granted. The company's main office was in the New England area, and the next trip was coming up in December. The original poster wanted to do some sightseeing during their downtime. Their supervisor at the time mentioned that the company would simply pay for a car rental. Well, isn't that convenient? A manager actually making a logical, mutually beneficial arrangement with an employee. Too bad corporate accounting always has to step in and ruin any trace of common sense. The arrangement was that the original poster would be entirely responsible for their own gas. This seemed like a very reasonable deal. They set the reservation for the car, made sure their credit card was empty, and had a wonderful time seeing snow. That is really tough. You have an employee just trying to enjoy a simple perk of traveling to a new climate, following their direct manager's guidance, completely unaware of the bureaucratic nightmare waiting for them back home. When they turned in the receipts for everything during the December trip, the total came up to less than $300, and that impressively included the entire car rental for the week. Are you kidding me? They cut the corporate travel expenses almost in half while getting a better experience? Any functioning accounting department should be giving this employee a massive bonus, not a hard time. But the original poster soon got a formal notice of denial from the accounting office. The accountants told them that because they had not secured official permission for the rental of the car, they were not going to pay for it. This is getting ridiculous. Their direct supervisor literally gave them permission. Accounting is sitting in a cubicle punishing an employee for finding a highly efficient workaround that saved the company hundreds of dollars. The original poster tried to explain that renting the car cost the company significantly less than every single Uber trip they wanted to take. They calculated it would have cost at least $500 or $600 to go everywhere using Uber. Unbelievable. Corporate accountants would literally rather waste $600 of company cash on technicalities than approve a $300 expense that makes perfect, logical sense. Policy over logic, every single time. Accounting firmly told the original poster that the cost difference did not matter and that they should have just followed policy. The funny thing was, there was nothing in the policy about whether or not they could actually rent a car. Oh, absolutely. You just have to love when middle management exploits a policy that does not even explicitly forbid the thing they are complaining about. They just hate when employees think outside the box. Instead, there was a specific line in the handbook saying that employees needed to be financially responsible with company money and consciously aware of what they were spending. Anything needed could be done through the Uber app. Make this make sense. The policy literally demands financial responsibility, which is exactly what the original poster did by renting the car. Accounting is contradicting their own written rules just to flex their authority. When the original poster pointed out this specific financial responsibility clause, the accounting team finally caved, but with a major catch. They replied, "We will pay you back for the car, but not the gas." Honestly, this hurts to read. The original poster tried to do a good deed for the company, and they still had to fight tooth and nail just to get properly reimbursed for a mandatory work trip. The accounting team then issued their final, terrible instruction. They told the original poster, "Next time, just use Uber." And that is exactly the moment the original poster decided it was time for some textbook malicious compliance. You have got to be kidding. If accounting wants to play stupid games and demand rigid adherence to a highly inefficient system, they are about to win some incredibly stupid and expensive prizes. The next mandatory business trip rolled around the following April. The original poster knew exactly where they needed to go, what they wanted to do, and what they wanted to eat. Classic. The trap is set. They are about to follow the corporate instructions so perfectly that the accounting department is going to absolutely regret ever sending that email. It was essentially the exact same itinerary they had in December, but this time, every single movement was done exclusively through the Uber app. But wait until you hear the final bill that accounting was forced to swallow. When the original poster got back home and figured out the total for the April trip, the expenses had skyrocketed. The total bill came out to well over $600 for a single week of travel. What a surprise. You literally asked for this, corporate. You demanded they use a premium on-demand chauffeur service for every single meal and meeting, and now you get to pay the premium price tag. Needless to say, the accounting team was absolutely not happy. They immediately tried to argue the pricing, complaining that the original poster had spent way too much company money for just one person. The audacity, you literally ordered them in writing to use the specific app. You cannot mandate a highly expensive service and then complain when the receipts accurately reflect the exact cost of that service. The original poster calmly pointed out that the only difference between the cheap December trip and the expensive April trip was the massive cost of the Uber upcharges. They had actually gone to fewer places with no sightseeing. Yeah, right. It is almost like the employee who used to run their own business actually knew how to manage a budget better than the entire corporate accounting department. Defeated by their own policy, accounting paid up without another word. They then quietly asked which rental agency the original poster preferred to use for all future trips. Checkmate. The community on r/MaliciousCompliance absolutely loved this brilliant execution of corporate payback. The comment section immediately lit up, pointing out the absolute absurdity of rigid corporate bureaucracy. User u/blocked-author posted one of the top voted comments stating, "A rental for future trips." No thank you, the Uber worked just fine for me. This comment perfectly captures the ultimate power move here. Once a company forces you to use a more expensive, luxurious option against your will, you have zero obligation to save them money once they realize their massive financial mistake. Many viewers strongly urged the original poster to refuse the rental car offer for all future trips. The company made their bed with the Uber mandate, and the community felt the original poster should force them to sleep in it indefinitely. User U/ElmaFuds Elbow brought a fascinating perspective to the discussion, noting, "My experience dealing with corporate accountants is that they do not give 2 cents how much is spent, only that the expenses follow their written policies." This insight resonated with thousands of viewers who have suffered through corporate travel. Accounting departments are often audited based on strict policy adherence, not actual cost savings. A $600 approved expense genuinely looks better on their spreadsheets than a $300 unapproved one. Other community members highlighted the complete lack of communication between the direct supervisor who approved the rental and the accounting department that denied it. Viewers argued that employees should never be financially punished for internal management miscommunications. So what did Reddit decide? The community voted not the asshole with an overwhelming 98% consensus. That means virtually every single viewer agrees that the original poster is a genius, and the accounting department got exactly what they deserved. Do you agree? Drop your verdict in the comments. Now let us dive into the comprehensive legal and corporate breakdown of this entire situation, because the friction between implied managerial authority and formal corporate policy is a massive issue in employment law. First, let us examine the concept of implied authority and promissory estoppel in the workplace. When a direct supervisor tells an employee that the company will pay for a car rental, that manager is acting as an authorized agent of the employer. Under fundamental principles of agency law, if an authorized agent of the company makes a financial promise to an employee, the company is generally legally bound to honor that promise, regardless of what the internal accounting department thinks. When accounting initially denied the reimbursement, they were legally in the wrong. The original poster relied on the supervisor's promise to their own financial detriment by booking the car. Forcing an employee to absorb a legitimate business expense violates state labor laws regarding expense reimbursement. Second, let us talk about the legal doctrine of fiduciary duty and corporate waste. Ironically, the employee was the only person in this story actually honoring their duty to act in the best financial interest of the company. By mandating the use of a significantly more expensive transportation method simply to check a bureaucratic box, the accounting department was actively engaging in corporate waste. They were explicitly authorizing the unnecessary draining of company assets. Furthermore, the written corporate policy explicitly demanded that employees be financially responsible with company money. The accounting team's attempt to deny the cheaper rental car actually violated their own written corporate bylaws. In a formal corporate audit, the accounting department would be severely reprimanded for prioritizing rigid adherence to unwritten rules over explicit written policies that mandate fiscal responsibility. Alright, it is time for the final verdict. We give the corporate accounting department a full 5 out of 5 jerks. They tried to punish an honest employee for saving them money, and they paid a heavy idiot tax for their extreme arrogance. We give the original poster 0 jerks. Maliciously complying with a terrible corporate mandate to teach middle management a lesson is a masterclass in workplace survival. Never sacrifice your own well-being to keep a corporation warm. Who is the real jerk here? Drop your verdict in the comments and let us argue about it. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss another breakdown. I will see you in the next one.